radio show only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit in current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof of your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, we are celebrating today National Mole Day. I wonder if they're talking about something a little nefarious there. I don't know. We'll figure that one out. Swallows depart from San Juan Capistrano today. Okay. Horror movie day. We're getting closer to Halloween, so I can understand that one. But I have beaten anorexia, so I am going to stick with Boston Cream Pie Day. Today's Boston Cream Pie Day. Okay. No images today. Josh is not with me today, so running it solo. See if I can figure out how to keep on doing this that we've done before. Let's see what the markets are doing today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average now down 328 points. S&P 500 is down 43. The NASDAQ is down 226. Oil down $1.80, $1.11 now a barrel. And the 10-year Treasury, it keeps on rising. It's 4.229 right now on that 10-year Treasury. Think it could have anything to do with the government continuing to spend money? Another new Biden administration awarding $250 million to develop affordable housing. The more they keep spending, the more inflation goes up, or the Federal Reserve has to do to fight inflation, which means our interest rates just keep on going up. People don't want to understand that that's, you have all this money that keeps getting just printed. And I saw an article this morning that, we added $600 billion to the national debt just recently, $600 billion. So what does that mean? Well, the Treasury has to go out and sell bonds because they don't have that money in the Treasury. So they have to go sell bonds to get that to get the money to pay that. They sell those bonds. That means there's more supply of the bonds. As the supply goes up, if the demand doesn't go up to match it, the price drops. And just as a straight mathematic issue, when the prices drop on the bond, that means the interest rate or the yield, it goes up. It's just plain simple math. But unfortunately, our administration doesn't understand that, and we don't have a legitimate media to tell you that. So how is anybody to know unless they're an economics specialist? And yes, I did go to Chapman College. It wasn't a university back then. I went to Chapman College, and I did serve on the economic forecast staff long time ago. And it's economics 101. The more you keep putting the bonds out there, the more the government spends and prints money. Yes, I know it's fake money. You know it's fake money. But they keep spending it and thinking that it's not going to have to ever get repaid. Well, it does get repaid at some point in time. It's going to have to get paid. And now there's conversations about just reducing the amount of our rating, the U.S. government's rating. $35.777 trillion is our national debt. Now, we know that not everybody pays taxes in this country. If everybody paid taxes in this country, if every citizen, that would be $106,000 that every citizen owes. Now, if we just go and we look at the taxpayers, well, those that pay taxes, they owe $271,000. If we took all the money from every one of the billionaires that we continue to hear about from some of our friends on the left, we still wouldn't have enough to pay. We took all their money. Still would not be enough to cover the national debt. See, our revenue is right about a little over 4.9 trillion. But we keep spending way more than that. Our budget is 7 trillion. What would happen if your budget, you say, okay, I made 49,000 this year, but I spent 70. How long can you continue to do that? The math just doesn't work, but our administration doesn't see that. And unless you listen to Ron Siegel Radio or a few others, nobody tells you this information. They just continue with the idea that, well, we'll spend more money. We can buy our way out of this. No, you've got to go and whether you like it or not, you get somebody like Elon Musk who went and when he bought Twitter, I think the number was that he cut 90% of the staff at Twitter. 90% of the staff he cut. Now, yes, he did find that he cut too many and he had to bring some back. But the bottom line is okay, you figure that out. Now, I would venture to guess, not 90%, but you and I both know there's tons and tons of waste in our federal government. What if we started requiring all the government workers to go back to work every day? Do you think you might find that there's people that are not giving 100% when they're at home? Just throw that out there for you. Maybe they're doing a load or two of wash while they're supposed to be working. Maybe they're doing the dishes or watching the kids or helping with homework, walk the dog. Do you think any of those things are happening? Of course they are. So when we bring people back, productivity might go up. There was a expose several years back, and it basically followed a salmon. Well, if a salmon is in a stream, that's regulated by one government agency. If that salmon is in a lake, it's another government agency. If it's in the ocean, it's another government agency. If it gets caught, there's another agency. Redundancy. You look at it and you say, okay, you got the Secret Service, the FBI, the NIA, the DOD. I mean, you got all these different agencies. I think there's 17 different intelligence agencies. 17. And they still didn't catch the guy that wanted to shoot President Trump or did shoot him. Think about these things. There's redundancy. Maybe there's so much redundancy that things just don't get done. Because have you ever had it at your house where you think that your spouse is doing X and they think you're doing X and neither one of you do X? It just happens that way. The redundancies. Get rid of something. Now, I'm not saying get rid of the spouse. I'd get in trouble if I said that. But the bottom line is these things happen and we got to watch out for it. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, how long will it take to sell your house? Mortgage rates are rising, but what's next for home buyers? Holiday spending, how to celebrate the season without putting your finances at risk, all that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home
and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates, with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions. They do not tell us points paid, points received, or the APR. They tell us the number you need to put in your mortgage calculator if you're going to find out what your principal and interest payment is. If you don't have a mortgage calculator, ronismylender.com, ronismylender.com. That gives you our mobile app, ronismylender.com. What did rates do yesterday? Well, the conventional 30-year fix, that was up 6.596. 30-year jumbo up 6.791. 30-year FHA up 6.245. 30-year VA loan, that was up 6.103. The 30-year USDA, that was up 6.254. It was an ugly day on the markets. Almost all were up. I'll have to look at that jumbo because we got a red arrow that's pointing up. I think it was probably up also. But that is the mortgage numbers. If you want our market commentary, we put that out each morning as early as the data allows. All you have to do is go and register. It's free. rsrlinks.com, rsrlinks.com/market minute. rsrlinks.com/market minute. Let's take a look and see what the markets are doing today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is down 371. S&P 500 is down 44. Why is that happening? Because, well, we're looking at the 10-year Treasury. That's up at 4.23. And mortgage-backed securities, they are down once again. When the bond goes down, the rate goes up. The mortgage-backed security is down 9 basis points. So let's take a look and see what's driving all these things. That's what you come here for, because those other numbers that I share with you, they are on the super secret website, google.com. So at 11 o'clock our time, the Federal Reserve is going to release their beige book, which provides an economic health update on each of the Fed's 12 districts. The Fed said they are not just looking at the BLS jobs data, as it has been unreliable. Really? Have you heard that anywhere before? I think you might have heard that on Ron Siegel Radio, where we've said that the BLS report is basically the BS report.
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
So since they're not looking at that, it's been unreliable and has been susceptible to huge revisions. Instead, they will check it against what their business contacts are saying. So the beige book will provide a check on the strength apparent in the recent economic data releases. One of the main reasons the bond market has struggled in October is that the U.S. national debt is exploding higher, increasing by $600 billion in just the last 2 months. We're quickly approaching $36 trillion, and the debt to GDP ratio is 124% for 2024, which is extremely high. Legendary investors like Paul Tudor Jones are saying that they are shorting bonds because there is too much debt. Existing home sales, which measures closings on existing homes, fell 1% in September to an annualized pace of 3.84 million units, which was in line with estimates. Sales were down 3.5% year over year. This report likely measured people shopping for homes in June and July before rates made their latest leg lower. We expect to see activity pick up in the coming reports as rates have come down significantly. They were locked in then. Now they've come back up. Inventory increased 1.5% month over month to 1.39 million units. Inventory is now up 23% year over year, but is still 24% less than pre-pandemic levels. There's a 4.3 month supply of homes, which is still tight because 4.6 is considered normal. Homes remained on the market for 28 days on average, up from 26 days in August. We also saw 20% of homes sold above the list price, showing that there is still bidding wars in about a fifth of the sales nationwide, 20% of the homes nationwide. Median home price was $404,500, down 2.3% from last month, but up 3% from last year. First-time home buyers accounted for 26% of sales, unchanged from the previous report. Cash buyers accounted for 30% of sales, up from 26%, while investors made up 16%, down from 19%. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial when you're ready for that next home loan. Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call. 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. So let's talk about some of these things for a little bit, because if you're watching social media, and I know you are because you're here watching us right now, well, here's the issue. There's a lot of lunkheads out there that are basically saying, well, the Federal Reserve lowered interest rates, so mortgage rates went up. Really? Does that make any sense to anybody at all that understands these things?
You know better than that.
Let's talk about it. For all those months that the Federal Reserve was increasing interest rates, rates went up. Now we've got the Federal Reserve lowering interest rates, and rates went up. So does it mean that the Federal Reserve has no bearing on interest rates? Because no matter what they do, they go up? No. It means that the Federal Reserve controls what they deal with. So what do they deal with? It's called the Fed funds discount rate. That's basically a lender of last resort. If a bank needs money overnight, they go to the federal funds discount window. They don't go there anymore, but that's what it used to be. And they would get a short-term loan, an overnight loan, and that's what the Federal Reserve would charge for that. They'd only go there if they were friends. The other bankers wouldn't give them money, couldn't give them money. So what does that affect? The Fed funds rate is going to affect prime rate. Prime rate will affect some car loans, some credit cards, and home equity lines of credit in many instances. Mortgage rates come from the mortgage-backed securities. Mortgage-backed securities are just like any other issue. But let's talk about this further. The government needs $600 billion to fund the last 2 months. $600 billion. It's outrageous. The amount of money they're spending, double what they take in. It doesn't last forever. You can't continue to do that. But I digress. So they have to come up with that $600 billion. Where do they go? They sell bonds. They sell bonds. That means you put more money into the bond market. But wait a second. Those bonds right now, I told you just a minute ago that the bonds are yielding, 4.25%. Well, so far this year, the S&P 500 is up. I think I looked it up earlier today, and I think it's up like 23 or 24%. Now, you tell me. You don't have to be a rocket science for this. So you tell me, do you want to put your money, and let's take a look at some of these options here. I did this for a conversation I was on earlier on a chat. So you can put your money into a 10-year treasury. It's right around 4%, 4.22 right now. Money markets are fairly close to that 10-year treasury, but I digress. Or you could put your money into a mortgage bond, which paying 5.5 or 6% right now. Or you can put your money in the S&P 500, which is so far year to date 24.33%. I think that's the last number. Don't quote me on it, but I think it's about right. And giving a 1.37 dividend as well, are included in that. So it's pretty simple. Now the bonds, the government has to have this money. So what happens? They have to sell it for less to make it more valuable or more enticing for investors to buy it. When they start reducing the price, the yield goes up, the interest rate goes up. So the more the government spends, Well, the more money, the bonds they have to issue, that increases supply. Well, there's a demand for these funds. The demand is people can put their money wherever they want to. They can put it into U.S. Treasuries. They can put it into the Canadian bonds. They can put it into any overseas bonds, or they can put it in the S&P 500. Now, there is risk in every one of those. 10-year Treasury is the only one that we can say is not a risk investment. But the bottom line is there's a supply and demand issue. People say, okay, well, maybe I'll take half my money and put it in the S&P 500, and I'm only going to put half of it into those Treasury bonds. So we don't have as much demand for it. So in order to sell them, the government has to just lower the price. It's the same thing as when you go to the supermarket. Right now we're getting close to the end of Halloween. What's going to happen on November 1st with all the Halloween costumes? They're going to be on sale because they want to get rid of them. There's no demand for them, but there's still supply. Now, some people say, well, I'm going to wait until they go on sale because then my kids will have those for next year, but I get to buy them at a much cheaper price. Exactly. That's how it works, supply and demand. So the price, if the demand goes down, the price has to go down as long as there's supply. That's why you see some of these things and you get these people that don't understand it when they talk about price gouging. Well, if you make it more difficult for the supply to come to market, prices are going to go up. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, how long will it take to sell your house? Mortgage rates are rising, but what's next for home buyers? All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numero 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio.
Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today is being brought to you by rsrmoney.com. rsrmoney.com. How long will it take to sell your house? That is our question today. As you're getting ready to sell your house, one of the first questions you're probably asking is, how long is this going to take? And that makes sense. You want to know what to expect. While every market is different, understanding what's happening nationally can give you a good baseline. But for an even more detailed look at real estate conditions in your area, connect with a local real estate agent. They know your local market best and can explain what's happening near you and how it compares to the nationals. Here's a look at some of the things a great agent will walk you through during your conversation. And don't forget, you can get your free report. I think I've got the right one here. rsrlinks.com/market report. rsrlinks.com/market report. You go in there and we give you for free to you, what's happening in your zip code. You don't have to worry about what's going on in my zip code because that may not matter to you. That you don't care about what's going on nationally. That may not matter to you. But you can find out what's going on in your zip code by going in there and register. It doesn't cost you a thing other than a couple of minutes of your time. and you can find out what's going on in your area. More homes are on the market, and that's affecting how long they will take to sell. According to Realtor.com, the number of homes for sale has been going up this year. That means there are more options for buyers, which is great news for anyone looking to buy a home. But as a seller, it also means homes are staying on the market a bit longer now that buyers have more options to choose from. One of the big reasons homes sold so fast in recent years is because there were so few of them for sale. And now that there are more houses on the market, it makes sense that they aren't selling quite the same pace. Right now, according to Realtor.com, it takes 55 days from the time a house is listed for it to be officially sold and closed on. But keep this in mind, while homes might not be selling as quickly as they did last year at this time, they're still selling faster than they did in more than normal years in the housing market before the pandemic. If you look back at 2017 to 2019, you'll see that it was typical for a house to take 60 days or more to sell. So today's process is still faster than the norm. That's because even with more homes for sale, there are still more buyers than homes for sale. So homes that show well and are priced right are selling fast. As NerdWallet explains, quote, overall, though demand still outpaces supply, this is hardly a mellow market. Good homes sell quickly, unquote. Your agent can help your home stand out. If you're looking for ways to make your move happen as quickly as possible, partnering with a great local agent is the key. Your real estate agent will help you with everything from setting the right price to staging your home so it looks its best. They'll even create a marketing plan that grabs buyers' attention and will give you key insights about what's happening in your specific area so you can plan accordingly and make the process go as smooth as possible. So while homes might be on the market a little longer than before, they're still selling faster than the norm. If you have the right agent and the right strategy in place, your home may even sell faster than you expect. Bottom line, if you're planning to sell your house, knowing how long it might take is a big part of planning your next steps. Give me a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Anywhere in the sound of my voice, I can put you in touch with great real estate professionals that know various strategies and can give you a hand with some of these things. And I'm just going to give you a few stats right here while we're thinking about it. So I watch a lot Anaheim Hills and I watch Yorba Linda. There are a couple of areas that I just happen to know the numbers pretty well. And I'm going to share some stats with you. Anaheim Hills, 92807, right now has 37 homes for sale. 92808 has 16 homes for sale. That's about 50% more than we had most of last year. Yorba Linda right now has 56 homes for sale. That's almost double what they had before. Days on market for Yorba Linda is 71. And in Anaheim Hills, you're looking at about 40 days, give or take. So think about those numbers. And if you look at the charts, and if you get the report that I've been offering to you at no cost to you, which is exactly what I'm looking at right now, it'll actually show you charts on there as to how the inventory is going up, how the days on the market, what's been happening there. And it also tells you what percentage of the properties have a price decrease. And that's a fascinating number because the average is 33% historically. Right now in 92807, Anaheim Hills, one of the Anaheim Hills, there's only 19% of the properties, 19% of the 37 properties have had a price decrease. So you just have to watch some of those things and get an idea where they're going. Just an idea for you. That is the Real-Time Real Estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. I think we got another mortgage minute, or not our normal mortgage minute, but I really want to give you a little bit of a feeling here for things that are going on in the market right now. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to throw up find where that one is. I'll throw up our link on here for you to go ahead and I think we got the RSR Home Select. That'll work. So let's talk a little bit about mortgage rates are rising, but what's next for home buyers? That'll be our subject here. If you're thinking about buying a home, you're probably keeping an eye on mortgage rates. After all, the interest rates you secure can make a big difference in your monthly payments and overall affordability. Recently, mortgage rates saw a small rise, but the outlook for long-term trends might just offer a bit of hope. According to recent data, the average 30-year fixed-rate mortgage increased slightly, sitting at 6.46% for the week ending October 17th. While this is higher than it was just a month ago, it's important to note that today's rates are still lower than the peaks we saw earlier this year. Where are mortgage rates headed? The big question on everyone's mind is, where are mortgage rates going from here? And for perspective, homeowners or those considering refinancing, this is a crucial question. For context, the median home price in the U.S. is around $415,000, according to the National Association of Realtors. So even a small change in interest rates can have a significant impact on the overall cost of your mortgage. Fortunately, there's some positive news on the horizon. Experts agree that while rates are currently elevated, they're likely to trend lower over the next year. Consumers are optimistic about future rates. In fact, 42% of consumers believe mortgage rates will decrease in the next 12 months, according to a recent survey. The optimism stems from recent economic trends and moves made by the Federal Reserve, which has already started lowering interest rates. The Fed's decision to cut rates by 50 basis points, or 0.5%, has led to widespread anticipation that further reductions may follow, helping to ease mortgage rates as well. For home buyers, the optimism is double-edged sword. On one hand, it's encouraging to think that rates may come down, potentially lowering the cost of borrowing in the future. On the other hand, waiting for rates to fall further might not always be the best move, especially in a competitive housing market where home prices continue to rise. Experts forecast lower rates are coming, but gradually. While the consumers are feeling hopeful, housing economists are tempering expectations. Experts from Fannie Mae and the Mortgage Bankers Association predict that rates will gradually decrease, but not at the pace many are expecting. Fannie Mae projects that the average 30-year mortgage rate will end this year at 6.2%, with a slight drop to 5.7% by the end of 2025. Similarly, the Mortgage Bankers Association forecasts rates at 6.2% by the close of this year, falling only marginally to 5.8% by the end of 2025. The National Association of Realtors expects similar trends, with rates closing the year at 6.1% and hovering around 5.8% in late 2025. While these predictions point to a downward trend, it's important to remember that these are slow and incremental decreases. For those waiting on rates to plummet before making a move, these modest drops might not be enough to significantly alter the affordability of a new mortgage. What does this mean for home buyers? For homeowners and first-time buyers alike, the slight rise in rates might feel like a roadblock, but it doesn't have to be. The key is understanding how these shifts impact your overall buying power and debt management strategies. Strategic planning is critical during periods of fluctuating rates. Here's how you can position yourself. Number one, lock in rates early. If you're in the market to buy soon, consider locking in today's rates rather than waiting for future drops. Many lenders offer rate locks that can secure your rate for a specified period while you finalize your purchase. Number two, explore adjustable rate mortgages. Depending on your situation, an ARM may offer a lower initial rate. Just make sure you understand how and when the rate can adjust down the road. Number three, keep your budget in check. With interest rates fluctuating, it's crucial to stick to your budget. Overextending yourself now could lead to financial strain down the road, especially if rates don't drop as much as expected. How can I help you manage debt? As a certified liability advisor, I help homeowners and first-time buyers navigate the complexity of mortgage rates and debt management. Understanding how mortgage interest rates affect your long-term financial plan is essential to building wealth and securing your future. If you're wondering whether now is the right time to buy or refinance, I can guide you through the process and help you make the most informed decision for your unique financial situation. Together, we can explore mortgage options that fit your goals, whether you're trying to lock in today's rates or plan for future opportunities. Bottom line, while mortgage rates are higher than they were a month ago, experts agree that long-term expectations point toward gradual decreases. If you're planning to buy a home or refinance, now is the time to assess your financial goals and determine how current and future rates fit into your plan. Remember, waiting for the perfect rate can sometimes mean missing out on the right home. Instead, focus on managing your debt smartly, taking advantage of the rate lock options, and staying within your budget to ensure that your home purchase or refinance works in your favor. Give me a call today to learn how strategic debt management and careful planning can help you navigate the ups and downs of mortgage rates while still achieving your financial goals. That is a Borrow Smart segment brought to you by rsrhomeselect.com. rsrhomeselect.com. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, holiday spending, how to celebrate season without putting your finances at risk. And we're going to also chat a little bit about living paycheck to paycheck. Is it a hardship or a financial planning? All that and more. Reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, the Borrow Smart segment. Today being brought to you by rsrhomeselect.com, rsrhomeselect.com. Holiday spending, how to celebrate the season without putting your finances at risk. As the holiday season approaches, many of us are looking forward to celebrating with loved ones. But amid the excitement, there is a real danger that holiday spending can derail your financial plans. According to a NerdWallet report, Americans plan to spend over $200 billion on gifts alone this year and a staggering $300 billion on travel, marking significant increases from last year. For homeowners and first-time home buyers alike, staying financially savvy during the holidays is critical. Whether you're juggling mortgage payments, saving for a down payment, or looking to plan for a prosperous future, understanding how to balance holiday cheer with financial responsibility is key. Americans are spending more this year, but at what cost? According to NerdWallet survey, over 83% of Americans plan to buy gifts this holiday season with an average spending of $925 per person. That's over $17 billion more than last year. On top of that, nearly half of Americans are splurging on travel, spending an average of $2,330 on flights and hotels. But here's the kicker. Many still haven't paid off last year's holiday debt. Key insight, nearly 3 in 10 people who put last year's holiday expenses on credit cards are still paying them off today. This is especially concerning when considering that the average interest rate on credit cards has jumped over 22.7%. For homeowners, this level of holiday debt can be particularly dangerous. Taking on new debt for holiday spending could interfere with your mortgage payments or your ability to qualify for future loans. For first-time buyers, it could reduce your down payment savings or even delay your ability to buy a home altogether. So how do we celebrate smartly and build wealth? It's not with debt. Number one, create a holiday budget and stick to it. According to the NerdWallet survey, only 27% of holiday shoppers have a strict budget for their gift spending. This year, why not take a different approach? Before you start spending, take a hard look at your finances, set a limit on how much you can afford to spend on gifts, travel, and entertainment, and prioritize saving for future goals. Number two, focus on experiences over expensive gifts. It's tempting to overspend to show loved ones you care. But thoughtful experiences can be just as meaningful. Consider giving experiences instead of items. Many Americans, 33%, would prefer a shared experience over a material gift. Number 3, use savings, not credit cards. With credit card interest rates soaring, financing holiday spending through debt can have long-term consequences. If you don't have enough in savings, it might be wise to scale back your gift list. Stretching your budget by using emergency savings or relying on credit can jeopardize your long-term financial stability. Number 4, plan for next year. If holiday travel is important to you, start saving now for next year's expenses. By putting away a small amount each month, you'll be better prepared to enjoy the holidays without going into debt. Setting up a savings plan early is a great way to balance the joy of the season with broader financial goals. Debt management, a plan to financial stability. For those already feeling the weight of holiday debt from years past, it's important to have a strategy for getting back on track. As a certified liability advisor, I work with families to help them navigate the tricky balance between necessary debt and long-term wealth building. Here's a simple but powerful strategy to consider. Pay off high-interest debt first. If you're carrying credit card debt from previous holiday spending, focus on paying that down first. With interest rates climbing, you could end up paying hundreds of dollars in interest that could otherwise go toward your financial goals. Consolidate debt where possible. For homeowners with equity, this might be an ideal time to consolidate high-interest debt into a lower-interest home equity line of credit or refinance into a mortgage that can reduce monthly expenses. Plan your payments. Create a structured plan for managing your debt, setting realistic monthly goals that allow you to pay off what you owe without feeling overwhelmed. A balanced approach to the holidays. Ultimately, the holidays should be a time of joy, not stress. With careful planning, however, homeowners and first-time home buyers can enjoy the season without jeopardizing their financial goals. By setting clear spending limits, focusing on experiences, and managing your debt wisely, you can strike the perfect balance between celebration and responsibility. If you're worried about how holiday spending could affect your long-term wealth-building goals, I'm here to help. As a certified liability advisor, I can guide you through strategies that help you enjoy the holidays while keeping your finances secure, your financial future secure. Give me a call today, 800-306-1990. Let's chat about how to deal with this for you. That is the Borrow Smart segment brought to you by rsrhomeselect.com, rsrhomeselect.com. Maybe we'll do another Borrow Smart segment brought to you by rsrhomeselect.com. Borrow Smart segment brought to you by rsrhomeselect.com. Living paycheck to paycheck. Is it a hardship or a smart financial plan? For many Americans, the phrase living paycheck to paycheck brings to mind images of financial struggle, stress, constant worry about making ends meet. However, the reality isn't always so black and white. In fact, according to NerdWallet survey, over 57% of Americans say they're living paycheck to paycheck, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're in financial trouble. So what does living paycheck to paycheck really mean? And more importantly, how can homeowners and first-time buyers manage their finances wisely without falling into the pitfalls of financial strain? The reality of living paycheck to paycheck, not always a crisis. We tend to assume that living paycheck to paycheck means you're barely scrapping by, but that's not always the case. Surprisingly, 42% of Americans earning $100,000 or more also say they're living paycheck to paycheck. For many, this simply means that all or most of their income is allocated to various expenses before the next paycheck arrives, not necessarily that they're financially unstable. In fact, some people who identify as living paycheck to paycheck are still able to regularly contribute to savings, retirement, and emergency funds. This points to a different reality, living paycheck line of efficient budgeting rather than financial hardship. Efficient budgeting versus financial strain, what's the difference? For homeowners and prospective home buyers, living on a tight budget can feel restrictive, but can also mean that you're on the right path. With a well-structured budget, every dollar is assigned a purpose, whether it's paying off a mortgage, saving for a down payment, or contributing to an emergency fund. This approach can help ensure you're working toward long-term financial goals while still covering immediate expenses. Here's a great budgeting rule to consider, the 50-30-20 rule. Allocate 50% of your income needs to housing, utilities, and groceries. 30% to wants, entertainment and dining out, and 20% to savings and debt repayment. If you find that you're allocating all your income toward these categories and still managing to save for the future, congratulations. You're using your paycheck efficiently and are likely in good financial position. However, if you feel like you're constantly running on empty or struggling to cover basic expenses, it might be time to reassess your budget and spending habits. When living paycheck to paycheck becomes a hardship, well, for some, living paycheck to paycheck is a genuine struggle where each month brings the challenge of balancing bills and basic needs. If you're in this situation, clever budgeting can only take you so far. According to the Federal Reserve, 37% of Americans could not cover a $400 emergency expense without going into debt. If you're finding it difficult to manage essential expenses, here are some steps you can take. Number one, prioritize crucial expenses. Focus on housing, utilities, food, and medical care. These are the essentials that need to be covered. Number two, contact creditors. If you're falling behind on payments, don't hesitate to reach out to your creditors. Many companies offer hardship programs that can provide relief in tough times. Number three, seek assistance. Don't be afraid to look for help. Local charities, government programs, and social services are designed to assist families in financial distress. Whether it's food assistance, utility relief, or help with medical bills, these resources can provide breathing room when it's needed most. So how do we break free from the cycle? Breaking the cycle of living paycheck to paycheck starts with small but intentional changes to your financial habits. Building an emergency fund, even if it's just $50 or $100 at a time, can help create a financial cushion that will protect you from unexpected expenses. As a certified liability advisor, I specialize in helping families develop strategies to break free from debt and build wealth through smart financial planning. Here are a few practical tips to get started. Number one, build a buffer in your budget. If you're constantly waiting for the next paycheck, create a small buffer by cutting back on non-essential spending. Even $50 a month to set aside for emergencies can make a big difference over time. Number two, increase savings gradually. Start small. It may seem impossible to save when you're living paycheck to paycheck, but even small contributions to savings accounts will add up. Over time, you can build an emergency fund that provides peace of mind. Number three, strategic debt management. If you're burdened by high interest debt, consider refinancing options. Then consider debt into a lower interest loan. Homeowners may have opportunities to use their home equity to reduce high interest rates. We've talked about that before. Plan for the future. Owning a home is one of the most significant financial commitments you'll make. By planning ahead and managing your liabilities, you can not only maintain your home, but also build wealth for the future. Your financial well-being starts today. Whether you're a homeowner, first-time buyer, or someone simply trying to make ends meet, living paycheck to paycheck doesn't have to mean financial instability. With a solid plan in place and commitment to managing your liabilities wisely, you can break free from the cycle and work toward long-term financial security. As a certified liability advisor, I'm here to help guide you through the process. Together, we can create a tailored plan that aligns with your financial goals and helps you enjoy life without the constant worry of paycheck to paycheck living. Give me a call today at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, and we'll help you put together a budget and make your dreams of home ownership and financial freedom a reality. And as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your home and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean for engineering us. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun.